Good morning, everybody. It is morning still, right? Oh yeah, how about that? Uh, Welcome to the third installment of the Guiddhist. I am the Guiddhist, Steve Casa. What is a Guiddhist, you might ask? Well, basically, you take an Italian kid from Brooklyn, a Guido, mix him with a Buddhist, and what do you get? A Guidist. This is basically spirituality for regular people, you know, as regular as they get. Do the best I can every day. I don't think that maybe some of the experiences that I have had can be beneficial to others. So that's why I started this, and I'm going to try to continue it. Yeah, so today I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about compassion. It's a really, really tricky concept. It really is. Because, we respond and, well, most of us react, right? From emotion, right? We have emotional reactions, and oftentimes those emotional reactions come based on some kind of stimulus, right? Something that we've experienced or something that's happening to us at a moment. And with the stuff that's been going on this last week, it's just so absolutely awful. It's so sad, is what it is. That's what it is. It's sad. What I've noticed is that, you know, it's very, very hard to watch this stuff happen and not be angry. But what I realize is that the anger comes from this sadness, right? The sadness that people could feel so deeply, like we all feel deeply, right? But the actions that you take, right, really are the things that determine, what other people feel about it, right? About what you do, So, I think a lot about compassion. I'm going to kind of lay this out a little bit. Then I'm going to go back to my thoughts on this because they probably, like honestly, when you look at things this way, they might not be the most, they might not be the most favorable in people's eyes because people have deep, hard feelings about this kind of stuff. We all have like a lot of bad things that happen to us, right? And we all do bad things to others. This is just human nature. It's what we are, right? What we try to do is I hope, I know I do, I know I try really hard to not do harm, to do less harm, the least amount of harm as possible to others, right? To the planet, to but most importantly to myself, right? And like the fact of the matter is that nobody is going to be able to, unless you're completely enlightened, right? You're not going to be able to find the ability to allow these things to happen and just hold your seat and be in the middle. It's just very hard, right? I mean, it takes a lot of work. So, compassion is something that I had to learn about through readings and different things and stuff, and it's something I really think has been like a savior for me with respect to my levels of stress, my emotions, my anger, my sadness. And basically, what I want to say about it is this: that you know, with compassion, you know, when somebody does something really bad to you or to the world or to anybody, there's a reason, right? That behavior, right, comes to the fore, comes to fruition, right? And oftentimes it's what you're taught, right? I mean, look, we've all heard this and we all know this. You put babies in a sandbox, doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter where they're from, doesn't matter what kind of music their parents are into. They're going to get along. It's just the way it is. You don't come out hating. You just don't, or, with the intention to be bad to others, right? But you're taught. It's that simple. I mean, it is that simple. If you're around fear and sadness, you're going to be angry, And, we've seen it on, demonstrated so much in this country, in this world, right? I mean, you want to catch a great little 6-minute thing to kind of realize how bizarre it all is. There's Carl Sagan, who's amazing. Did this thing called the pale blue dot. Look it up. Make sure you see the 6+ minute one. Kind of wakes you up to why stuff happens, and the bottom line is it's humans, right? It's human nature. Like, it's people. It's in our nature to not be able to kind of, live as one, right? I mean, it's the bottom line. It's just the way it is. So, the logic around the compassion piece and where it's really helped me in dealing with a lot of things that have happened to me in my life is really understanding that I can be compassionate for people based on the fact that this is what they know. Now, here's the important thing, the really, really critically important. Now, listen, everybody. Don't get all emotional about what I just said. Take a chill pill, relax. The Guiddhist got you. And think about this for a moment. You never, ever condone bad behavior, poor behavior. You can't condone actions that hurt others. It's just not reasonable, right? If you condone actions that hurt others, then you're part of the problem, right? You can't condone those actions. However, what you can do is you can be compassionate in understanding that those actions happened because of what somebody learned or their environment. Let me give you an example. So, I've had people do kind of mean things to me, like everybody else has over their lifetime. Hurtful things. We know the reason why people do hurtful things. They do hurtful things because of their own insecurities, right? So, when somebody has done something really, really terrible to me, right? Mean things to me, excuse me. What I've done is I've had a reaction, right? That was based on emotion, because that pain that I felt when that person was doing those things to me made me angry. It comes from sadness. Remember, it all stems from sadness, right? When somebody hurts you, you feel sad. There's an emotion out of that. There's a reaction out of that. It tends to be anger, etc., right? But what I learned through a lot of work, hard work, right? And I think this has really been something that's been a saving thing to me and has created less stress, is that I don't condone the action, but I have to be compassionate in recognizing why the person did it. And most often, almost always, the reason why the person did it is because of the way they were raised, their environment, what was okay in their environment, like the stuff that went on, in the Capitol. I mean, there is no excuse to that behavior. Zero. It's horrible behavior, right? And during anybody who riots instead of protests and damages property and such, come on, let's all be real. There's no way you can condone that behavior, right? But what we got to do is we got to recognize that the reason for the behavior is because of what they had in their life at that time, throughout their life, etc. That level of hate that we saw, right? That level of like just anger, right? That comes from somewhere, and it comes from what you learn and what you know. So, in trying to be compassionate, what you can do is you can let go of a little of your emotion, right? Of course, you never condone the action. Never. Impossible. But what we try to do is we try to recognize that the only way to make this better, right, or to create a better environment, is to help people learn about tolerance, respect, each, caring for one another. I mean, look, man, the fact of the matter is every time we breathe, right? You know, we've got part of our inner insides that are going out into the world, and people breathing. Listen, we're all part of the same gig, man. You know, so the thing that we have to really, really recognize is that a lot of times that these behaviors are formed when people are young, right? Becomes habits, right? Behaviors, habits. So the goal is to try really hard to help people, right? Be less angry, be less sad. Teach them from a place of peace and love. It's really, really hard. It's a hard concept. It's a hard, I mean, I think about all the people that I watched this week and all my life, and I see their behaviors and their anger and their hate. And it's really, really hard to understand. It really is. I mean, every single person wants to be happy, wakes up in the morning hoping for good. There's nobody that doesn't want that. The circumstances and the environment and the way you're taught creates the way your brain and your mind and yourself, your whole self, responds. So in looking at compassion and recognizing that it's important for us to kind of recognize why people do what they do. Here, this is it, right? Just take it away from all these other people and take it to yourself, right? Self-compassion, right? Self-compassion. We sit here as human beings and often do a number on ourselves, right? And we often do things that are not, the best things in the world. Well, why do we do that? We do that because it's what we know. It's what we were taught, right? And so the compassion, the self-compassion is you recognizing that, right? And recognizing that you're doing the best you can because of what you know, right? Now, the other key to this is being able to forgive yourself and to forgive the people that, look, the reason I am the person I am is because of my parents and the environment that I grew up in, right? So, the bottom line is that there are a lot of things that happened, to me when I was a kid that, created what I am now, and what I have to do is I have to be compassionate myself and recognizing, that I'm going to do harm. And oftentimes that comes because of what I know, So I've learned to be compassionate of my mom and my dad, right? Because I know what they went through growing up, right? And I know the stuff that they felt growing up, So when we look at what went on in this country this week and over this past year, this crazy 2020, and now the beginning of 2021, trying to find the ability, again, to never condone behavior, right? And speak out against behavior and vote against behavior and, and be the right kind of person, but in understanding that people do what they do because of what they know. And if each one of us can take the responsibility of having loving kindness for ourselves and others, even people that we don't agree with, at least we're doing the job of trying to make it a little bit better, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is if I go on social media and I rip apart everybody I don't agree with, right? And then I get, 50 people to like what I said, right? And to echo my stuff in my feed, right? What am I doing, right? I am actually satiating my own need for my feelings to be justified. And that's where you get more riled up and amped up. I mean, come on. If anybody thinks that the crap that went down last week wasn't incited by the 45th president, who's thankfully going to be out very soon, then you're not logical, right? That behavior incited that action from others. And the action from others stems from what they know, what their environment is, and how they live. You don't condone it. You don't condone it by any means. What you try to do is you try to do your best to control your own self and live in a loving manner. It's a controversial topic, and I know that a lot of people are not going to agree with me. That's okay. That's okay. Because I've done the work to try so hard to be compassionate, first to myself and then to others. But again, please recognize and remember this. A lot of bad stuff has happened to me over my lifetime. Other people, because of other people. I'll never condone that bad stuff. I'll never condone it. I'll always have, you could see the discomfort in me right now thinking about things that have happened to me in my life, how people have treated me in my life. It makes it a little bit easier to try to recognize why they treated me that way. And to try really hard to help them. The only way I can help them, though, is by giving out that energy and by not being one that fuels the fire. Many years ago, my mentor was Sunny Lerner, this woman who was just one of the most amazing individuals I've ever met in my life. And I was going through something absolutely terrible. Sunny Lerner was unbelievable. And some of you who watch this or listen to this might remember her. Right? You know what I'm talking about. You know, she was like 5 feet tall, but she was like 20 feet tall. She was the toughest woman I've ever met. I loved her so much. Such a beautiful human. And I was going through something particularly horrible in my life. And I went to her, and I asked, I talked to her about it. And she said to me very simply, she said, you need to keep your dignity and your integrity. No matter what, no matter how much you hate, no matter how much you feel, no matter how angry you are, you have to keep your dignity and your integrity. Because any reaction that you have or anything that you do, any action that I do, is going to affect others negatively. Right? Think about that for a minute. It's really hard to do, but you got to try to find and pick your spots. Again, don't condone bad behavior, but please recognize that as humans, people are they're gonna act poorly. It's just the way it is. And you are too. I do it. I do. I mean, I have so many regrets for behaviors that I've did and will continue to. When I meditate every single day, every day in the morning, what I do is I make an intention, right? And I also offer forgiveness to myself for the things that I'm going to do that are going to hurt others and therefore hurt myself. I also offer forgiveness every morning to the people who are going to hurt me. Think about it. It's kind of crazy, but it's really the only way. This is, if we don't have love and loving kindness and try to share goodness with others, it makes it a lot easier to live. I think it does. Again, don't condone. Have compassion. Start with yourself. Right? If it's very hard for you to have compassion for others, start with yourself. Think about the things that happened to you in your life. Think about the things that you've done to hurt others in your life, right? And recognize that the reason you did those things is because of your environment, the way you were taught, right? Things that and circumstances that happened to you at that time. You're not a bad person. You weren't born a bad person. We're not bad people. We do bad things, right? So have compassion for the person. Don't condone the things. Don't condone the action, right? With that, I'm going to end this one. This is a long one, but I think it's, but hopefully you'll listen to it and hopefully you like it. And, look, the opinions expressed by the Guiddhist on the Guiddists, are his and his alone. But they're also based on a lot of reading, a lot of research, and a lot of trial and error, and a lot of stuff, man. I wish you all well. I wish you will all be well. I wish you will all be happy. You'll be peaceful. And I wish you ease in your life. It's not an easy life, but I wish that to you. Believe it. When I meditate, when I do meditate, I always wish every person, my friends, family, everyone in the world, that they can be well, be happy, be peaceful, be free from suffering. I don't know if it works, but if it does a little bit, maybe we get a little bit better. All right, so until the next time, this is the Guiddhist. I love you all, I really do. Be well, be happy, be peaceful, and we'll see you in a few days. Later.